Yes.
Hi, Chloe.
Hello, Angela. How are you?
Yeah, fine, thank you. What number is
Good.
this now? How many?
Oh, I meant to look. Is it 9, 10? I
God,
meant to look. Yeah,
have we
sorry.
really been talking for that long?
It's great, isn't it?
Yeah, and we don't seem to run out of things to say either, do we?
No. I guess that we're both quite, we're quite like sponges, aren't we? So there's always something more for us to go away and find out about and come back and talk about. It's lovely.
And learn.
So you've had your reading week and
Yes.
you're back. So,
Yep.
So what's been going on at uni?
So reading week isn't like reading week.
No.
They lump on so much work and just let you get on with it. But what's new? So we've moved to the different stage of our project. So we're working on Madeira Terrace on the arches, and we're now starting to do our design proposition. And it's got to be a food growing place. So urban agriculture. So we look at maybe composting. We'll look at harnessing the wind, the solar. It's all off grid, you see. So we have to look at how we're going to harness all the energy. And then we have to learn how to use that energy and do a place that people can use. Whereas we're still looking at the arches are a listed, I think they're grade 2-star structure.
Yes, they are, yeah.
So they can't be touched. So it's what we do use in those as well. So really good.
So who would be the client for that?
Brighton Council.
Wow.
So we actually have to present it to Brighton Council at the end. They get to see our designs. And the arches are actually on the first REBA stage of the concept stage in real life as well. So it's interesting. I don't know whether they're going down more the commercial route or the sustainable route. So ours have to be lightweight structures that can be deconstructed at the end of life. We have to harness all the natural energy, and we have to grow food and look at food growing to support our urban environment, which is really something we keep on touching on and something I'm really interested in anyway. I've got a garden where I'm fortunate enough to have a garden, but I grow things, vegetables and things in between my planting. And I want to get to a place where it kind of sustains all of our needs in terms of vegetable growing.
That would be great, wouldn't it? So who would be the end user for the terraces project?
So we all have to pick a food partner. So I have, so it's based on a restaurant who already kind of has some sustainable qualities, or who you think they could be enhanced. So restaurant, cafe, community group, things like that. I've actually chosen a place called Happy Mackie, which are sushi, vegan sushi burritos. One, they're delicious, but two, I thought they already sort of do a lot with their waste, composting, they're vegan, but I really want to take them on further. I've been doing lots of researches. They use beetroot and things like that in their sushi. So you can get some sea beetroot growing, and you can get lots of different interesting things. And the reason I chose those is they started off doing events like Glastonbury Festival. So I thought the viewing deck on top of Madeira Terrace would be ideal for one, because they're kind of mobile truck proportions. So one, it would fit, but two, they used to work in kind of on a viewing event type of thing, which Madeira Terrace is.
So they'd farm it and set and turn it into things they could sell on in that location.
Yeah, so I'm actually looking at a rice paddy, internal rice paddy, for them to do their rice and things like that. So a lot more businesses are going to be in the future starting to grow their own food and composting and harnessing energy and doing all of these things. So you can get an indoor rice paddy, which is really clever if you kind of search things like that.
Wow.
But, and seaweed the reason corals bleach and die is basically the algae gets inside the corals, which gives it its lovely colour. And because algae works on photosynthesis, which brightens it up. So then that tells me that seaweed's a good thing for lighting, and it's used a lot for solar energy because it works on photosynthesis anyway. So we're looking at to nature, which fits with me being a biophilic designer.
Yeah.
Of our inspiration and how we can actually harness all of these things. So
sounds fantastic.
and
Sea kelp is
day yesterday.
Oh yeah, should explain to everybody what the terraces are. So they're like the Victorian ironwork terraces. There's something like 123 of them or something, because we've been raising money to get them renovated, and it's expensive. I mean, we've only got 3, but I heard yesterday they've got money for a lot more now. So
yeah, so they're on the first stage of all of the designs because a lot's been released. I just hope they maximise what they're going to be doing. They're doing all the way down to Black Rock as well, and the marina and things like that. I know that if you look in the Argus, there's a swim place going as well, so you can
open air swimming.
Yeah,
it's my favourite bit of the beach. I love it, and it has got really run down and kind of, while they're trying to support this, the fundraising, it's kind of got quite dilapidated, but it's going to be great, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, if the right people don't just do a concrete structure, and do it properly, sustainably, and looking at lightweight structures and all of the things that we should be building with anyway. Duncan Baker Brown, he says that the best type of buildings are retrofit. We shouldn't be knocking things down and starting again. We should be using materials that are taken from one building and adding them to another, and seeing it as a material bank and a resource.
Absolutely.
I think that goes through to interior design as well.
I know, I did a post about this last week.
Sorry, I haven't been at social media.
You got enough on. You've got enough on with everything. But I just said about this, and kind of, we should regard the interiors that we're stripping out, not stripping out, evaluate, take a pause and learn something from, this retrofitting, and treat our interiors as material banks. We already know that we should try and install things that are demountable, easy to kind of reuse after the end of the life. But when you're taking on the end of someone else's life in a space, that people seem to just be very flippant about getting rid of everything. So I feel really strongly about it.
Do you think that interior designers as a whole are very good at, and construction industry as well, upskilling, changing, learning? Because I think a lot of it is they've always used the same suppliers. They've always used MDF, to make cupboards and things, and they're the easy go-to choices. So, and they're the ones that they put to their clients. In one of my lessons, they say just because it's greener doesn't mean to say it should be more expensive. And if it is, you should question it. So it's about a knowledge base of saying, okay, I will, as a designer, I think you have to work harder, because you have to, it's not obvious where you're looking. You become a material hunter, or, and looking to use it in a different way. But I think we need to educate ourselves differently. I know you do that at the moment, and I'm doing that at the moment. But I think as an industry in whole, I think we're very wasteful, and
I think a lot of people are in too much of a hurry. It's kind of, I guess, we're very small practices. I'm just me. You've got someone else with you, haven't you? But I don't have to feed the monster of kind of, salaries and kind of keep the projects coming in the same way that some of these larger companies do. So it's easier for me to kind of, I just feel very open to learning, and I feel that I can make space for learning. I'm terribly behind on my course, but anyway, it's I can kind of stop and just evaluate and kind of and change how I work. But yeah, these building companies, interior designers, you know, they're on a treadmill, and I think that time to stop and learn and evaluate and do things in a different way feels too risky, and so they just always stick to what they know. It's the same for using animal products. You know, they haven't got time to look around at the alternatives, so they just keep specifying what they last used. And I know we're being really efficient by doing that, because we're kind of not starting from, you know, the same place. We kind of gaining our learnings and kind of working from that point. But we do need to slow down.
Yeah, slow down and re-educate ourselves. I mean, sorry, but if I was a hairdresser who learnt in the 1950s, I'd still be doing blue rinses and hair sitting. Now, if you're not up in your skills as a designer, whether it's an architect, an interior designer, a stylist, if you're not learning the new ways, those skills are just going to stay the same and become obsolete. They will become Woolworth and just go. You know, so all these people who are doing well now, they won't be doing well. They won't be here, because you can't take a blue rinse, unless it's a different way of doing it now, that you learnt in the 1950s and apply it to now. It's not the way to do it. Although saying that, I am going back, and I've got a brilliant book that was written in 1969 from the head of park keeping in Brighton, and it's called Gardening by the Sea. And the amount I've learned about what's grown there and plants. So you can go back in history. That's a good thing. But what I'm saying is you have to change your skill set all the time.
Yeah, absolutely. I know. Well, you're just talking about the sort of your project for the terraces. So over the weekend and yesterday, I was a judge for the BIID Student Challenge, which happens every year. I've never been involved in it before, but they invite universities to enter, and I think there were 9 this year. And the brief was to work on 2 floors of the former Topshop at Oxford Circus, so massive floor space, to completely blue sky the new use for it. Kind of, you know, they were told to kind of think about attracting young people back to sounds a bit, anyway, the sound keeps going a bit crackly. So attracting young people back to that shopping experience, but also other experiences. How else would they like to use that space? You know, people now valuing spaces, experiences in spaces rather than just shopping. And if they're shopping, what kind of better kind of shopping could they be doing? And these students went off. They had 14 hours, and they delivered it all back. So it's always happened in person, and obviously this time it couldn't. So it's all been done on video conferencing. They all went away, worked together really, really well remotely.
In groups.
And so they were in the groups for their uni, and they each had a mentor from the BIID who there's been this group of mentors that I think have been doing them every year, and they're wonderful. I mean, they're past presidents of the BIID. There's lots of really brilliant people part of it. So they all went off and did it. And the reason I asked if I could be a judge was because the brief was to come back with a solution that involved sustainability, biophilic design, and there was lots of crossovers with human-centric design. So, and they also had to, the other part of the brief was they had to have a strong use of hand drawing in their submissions, which was actually a really clever move because it was such a digital submission otherwise, because there was voiceovers and it was like PowerPoint. Having that hand drawing element just sort of made it very personal. But yeah, so they all really, really brainstormed so well on it, and they
what
all
did the winning group offer?
So the winning one was it was kind of like there was a lot of similarities between what they all came back with. It's really rich with ideas, but the winning one was kind of like a combination of a market and, you know, clothes swaps, zero waste shop. It had lots and lots going on. There was wellness, there was uses for day and night, and the night wasn't all just about a bar or dancing, which there was some of that, but there was also spaces for learning, a night school. There was people to skill share and repair things, and there was like childcare for people to leave their children while they did these things, and there was so much in it.
More of a community rather than just a shopping event.
Yeah, and the big part of it was this vertical. Some of them had vertical gardens that were.
They look at the irrigation and the airflow for the vertical garden.
They were. There was. I mean, I'm talking across all of the entries now, but there was one that had a grey water system to feed the irrigation. There was a solar powered HVAC. They were really clever, and they had thought about biophilic principles. There was lots of sort of soothing water as well as the obvious greenery, but there was sensory garden. It was clever, and for 14 hours work, they brought back so much. So it's really heartening. I felt very, very excited for our profession, really, to sort of know that this quality is coming through from the universities.
Yeah, I did a similar thing actually. So last week I did Brighton Met as well. So a group of interior design students, and they're working on an office. So similar type of things. And what you get from seeing their work is incredible, isn't it? It's just, it does make you laugh though. They sit there like that thinking they've got the world's newest idea. And you think, nah.
Were they not working in teams then?
No, this wasn't. This was talking just about interior design in general. So they got to talk about their work. And since then, I've had a couple of emails as well asking for different help. So and I always think it's important when you're when you've been doing it for 20 odd years or however long, to give it back as well to people, because I think that's got to be the condition. Is I'll help you, but when you're in a position to help others, then you can as well. That's all I ask, and I'll always give my time to people wanting to know something or to learn or anything else. So I think it's important.
I agree. I mean, we talked about this before, but I can't have somebody here with me because I work from home. I don't have a spare workstation, but there's other things that I can do to support students. And I was so happy to do this. I thought it was great. And I think that's lovely that you're doing that for City College. Is it called, what's it called now?
Brighton Met.
Brighton Met. Because my dad used to be a lecturer there.
Oh, right. Okay.
So it's kind of, that's why they moved to Brighton, because my dad was going to teach there, and they used to have Christmas parties for the children, and they were fantastic. I think it's in that big lecture hall at the back. Have you been in the sort of old bit where they kind of got like a big theatre?
No, I've seen the new development in Brighton, and as I say, they're in Northbrook, so in Worthing.
Oh, are they? Okay.
Yeah, not at the moment. So to kind of finish, obviously we're getting back to normal.
I'll believe it when I see it.
Yeah. So we've got hopefully an end date in sight, being June the 22nd. So
21st.
Party. Hopefully it'll be a national holiday.
Yeah, we've got our 50th birthdays to celebrate.
Yeah.
But yeah, I hope they can stick to the dates, but you just don't know. But yeah.
So I think it's going to be a lot of change and needed change in a lot of professions. And I think the design profession, any design, needs to work harder. I think we need to say, okay, we've got a 2050 countdown, 2030's our next big milestone. We've got to now make a difference to saving this planet. So
I think the 2050 is gone. I mean, if they haven't formally brought that forward, I thought they were doing that, but it's got to be.
2030 is the aim. with the aim for 2050. So by 2050, we need to have changed and done changing. So it's just, but I feel it's going to be, we've got to be hygienic. So, and sometimes that doesn't always go with things like wood finishes, so to make sure that things, and disinfectant, we don't want chemical based things. So from there, we're going to have to look at how nature can help us clean things, and which it's probably already doing anyway, if we kind of mimic nature. So,
and we've got to be so careful that this onslaught of plastic that, is ugly, as well as kind of it's just there because of the pandemic. Just got to be careful that we don't add more and more of that. But I think people will really value indoor air quality now, and will have people paying attention to that now, because in the past it wasn't really, it's very much part of the well building standards. And then the pandemic came along, and then everybody realised how important what they're talking about, changing the air, filtering the air, that's not had the same airflow. So
I believe there's a lot of crossovers. There has been for me for lots of years, which is also why I'm doing architecture now. But between interior design and architecture, there is lots of crossovers because an interior designer can affect airflow as well as window design, which an architect does through planning and location. We can look at the way the energy use is as well as an architect. So this is definitely going to bring a new hybrid of designer through, which isn't necessarily an interior designer and isn't necessarily an architect. It's people who work. There's an architect's company called Thomas Heatherwick, and on his studio, he has stage designers, he has craft people, he has architects, engineers, and from there, they're looking creatively at all of the buildings they're producing, rather than just saying, okay, are we RIBA, standard, and are we this standard? Actually, let's get a group of creatives and think of how we can all work together into it. So I think that's going to be an interesting thing in the future.
Yeah, I think you're right. That sounds like a really good way of putting a team together.
So anything you want to say before another week?
No, but be lovely to see you in a couple of weeks, and thank you for today.
Show everyone your necklace. So Chloe uses plastic as a precious material, which is fantastic, and that's how it ought to be looked at, isn't it?
Yeah, this is precious. I'm not going to be buying any more gold or silver, or definitely not diamonds. Just not interested in extracting. But to have something that is made of plastic, but I value, and it's precious, then I think that's no bad thing.
Oh, and I've got good news quickly before we go. So both of my kids have got job offers now, so they're going to be earning money. So Darcy's got about 5 job offers, so she can now
fantastic
pick and choose where she wants to go.
I just feel for young people at the moment. I'm so happy to hear that, because it's not the best time to be trying to get a job, is it?
No, and Ted's straight after his masters, so
Oh, congratulations to them.
Yeah, so that's nice. They can support me now.
Yeah. That's lovely news.
I'm a uni student. So, yeah. Okay, well, you have a lovely day. And,
thank you.
And we'll be back again in 2 weeks' time.
That would be great. Thank you, Angela.
Okay. See you later. Bye, Zoe.
Bye. Bye.